All right, that's the official word. We're getting started. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully a slightly different today. So, as we talked about before, kind of a blending of kind of value-based business and COVID business. With the COVID business, I'll be fairly brief because, hey, good news, not a lot to share. Things are starting to ratchet down as you look at incidents, so it waxes and wanes. One of the things that there is talk about doing, my understanding, is trying to sort out who are those who are presenting for other reasons and testing positive but are asymptomatic. And in that same vein, I will tell you, last week there was an official notice from New York State to say that they were no longer going to mandate surgical COVID testing for asymptomatic individuals. And so remember, that spans everything from cataracts and colonoscopies to brain surgery and colectomy. So there is discussion everywhere, at least amongst the U of R affiliate system, I think for most hospitals, about at least significantly relaxing the pre-COVID testing requirements to only those kind of more severe or significant procedures. So with that, I think we're going to see a lot fewer of those positivities, because a lot of those positives were people who were being tested asymptomatic before their colonoscopy, who were surprised as anybody to find out that they were positive. So don't be surprised if you see our community instance rate really start to plummet here in the next couple of weeks as that starts to transpire. And so that won't be really a reflection that there's a huge change in the prevalence or transmission, just in our testing volume. So that will both obviously be important to all of us as we're taking care of patients. I can say that we have seen a reasonable cancellation rate of patients who were found to have asymptomatic positivity and therefore were canceled and rescheduled. So that will help probably with some of the throughput for patients who wants to go through a bowel prep one to find out their COVID test was positive. But also I think it will probably be a satisfier issue for many people, because I can say the number of people who we were finding who had clinical symptoms of COVID who were coming back positive was really few and far between. So I say all that to say, community instances has been waxing, waning, but look overall at the trending down. I suspect we're going to see a big drop here in the weeks ahead as this change in mandatory pre-op testing goes away. And with that, I think we already talked before about some of the relaxing of masking requirements and whatnot. I think there's obviously going to be an even bigger push as we see community rates start to fall off, flu season diminish, hopefully norovirus go away. So hopefully a lot of the communicable diseases will start to fade as we get more into the warmer months, if there ever is such a thing coming. So groundhog or not. So that's really all of the big update to COVID. I did hear, Bob can probably speak to this better than I can, that Moderna packaging is now smaller quantity, which I haven't heard as much about that as I did before in the early phases where there's multi-use files, that kind of thing. But everything's kind of moving into a sustainable practice mode, I guess I will say, from the COVID front at this point. So that is all for me. Is Bob going first, Jana, or are you going to take over from here?
Bob is going to go first. I wanted to see if LJ had anything she wanted to add before he got started.
I may add one or two little things, but I thought let Bob go, and then they may be covered during it.
Okay.
So,
all right. So Bob Adams, Director of Pharmacy Services, is going to take over now and walk you through the pharmacy cost initiatives for 2023 and the relationship to the provider engagement report. So I'm just going to share my screen for you, Bob.
I'm going to let Jana drive the ship so we don't go off course. Keep us on track. Thanks. So what I want to do is take a few moments just to kind of talk about the PCP reward plan and the pharmacy components of the provider engagement report and what that's about. Next slide, Jana. So the criteria for the pharmacy reward. Now, this is available to providers that prescribe medications within the initiative for the current year. It's the provider baseline is established per medication initiative after 2 months of claims have been received by Excelis. So AHP has 4 medication initiatives this year for 2023. They are the same medication initiatives that we had in 2022. And largely that's because we had so many data problems with Arcadia, with Excelis, getting claims information, all that kind of stuff. So we're holding you harmless in 2022 with the goal of using 2023 to really move these initiatives along. There's the 4 initiatives. The first one is working with Humalog, going from the brand and converting it to its generic insulin Lispro. Same thing with Lantus, going with the biosimilar insulin glargine YFGN. And, as time goes on, more of these biosimilars will be probably coming out, and we'll be working to move these in that direction as well. Glumetza, conversion to metformin ER, and then working with the class of NSAIDs and kind of sticking to preferred agents. All right, Jana, next slide. So how it all works. So the total pharmacy reward will be divided into the number of medication initiatives for the providers that they've provided for the patients. You can look at it this way. So, example A, provider A has 4 patients, is giving medications in all 4 of the initiatives. So each medication represents 25% of the potential pharmacy reward. Provider B is only prescribing in 2 classes of the medications. So therefore, in their 2 classes, each medication is going to represent 50% of the total pharmacy reward. And how it all kind of comes together is we look at, where is the baseline of the network average? If a provider is above baseline for the network average, they get 100% of the reward. If a provider is below the baseline network average, but they are still at equal to their own personal baseline, then they'll qualify for 50% of the reward. Now, if the provider falls below baseline network average and their personal baseline, there's no reward at that point. Now, of course, we understand that the preferred agents aren't always the right agents for every patient. So if you have a patient where the preferred agent isn't working and you feel strongly that the non-preferred agent is the right agent, then we encourage you to reach out to the AHP pharmacy team through ahppharmacist@urmc.rochester.edu, and we'll work with you. We can do, we can look at our options, we can do a chart review, and at the end of the day, if it turns out that the non-preferred agent is the right agent, we can go on the back end and remove that patient from your denominator, so you're kind of held harmless from that. Go ahead, Jana, next slide. So where do we find this information? So if you go to the ahpnetwork.com homepage, you'll notice a green box in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on that green box, it'll take you to the provider engagement report homepage. And this is a great landing page for the provider engagement report. There's a lot of information here that's helpful. It's also, we understand that this isn't something that you're going to be in every day. And so if we're doing maintenance on the provider engagement report, or there's some sort of issue with data and we've stopped access, we'll post that information right on this screen. So you'll know if you go in here that it's not available today or right now, try again later. Also thinking that this isn't someplace you go all the time, there's good access for, a quick reference guide. It's just a 2-pager that gives you information on, what to expect when you click on the dashboard or how to run patient lists. If you need access for, guest access to the account, there's an FAQ for that. If you're having trouble logging in with your dual access for the university side, there's a link to the help desk to get a ticket put in so you can fix that. If you have suggestions how we could improve our dashboard and improve the PER, you can click there and give us some feedback. And of course, as we continue to advance this dashboard and new releases come out, we're going to have some notes there that kind of give you information about that. But once you land on this page, you want to click that yellow box. Next slide, Jana. And it'll take you right into the dashboard. So the pharmacy section is located down at the lower left-hand corner. And again, it's a dashboard. So there's indicators right there to give you kind of heads up how you're doing in the 4 different initiatives. If you see green circles, you're good to go. You're right where you want to be and you're making progress in your initiative. However, if you see blue circles in that section. Blue squares, it's really bad. Blue circles, however, there's opportunity. So if you, go ahead and click on those double arrows there and move us to the next screen, Jana. And this will bring you right into the pharmacy engagement, showing your 4 initiatives, kind of showing you where you're at. It'll show, the black line represents the network's baseline, and the gray lines represent your personal baseline and where you land. And then if you see blue bars, that's your opportunity level. So if you go ahead and click on one of those blue bars, we can go to the next slide to kind of drill in. It'll show you where your opportunity is at a patient level. And it'll also give you a recommendation for the medication. That's the alternative that'll get you to where you want to be and help with that particular initiative. Now, if your list happen to be long, this is exportable data that you can push out to Excel or CSV. And again, that's where you use that quick reference guide that's on the homepage that will help kind of walk you through the steps if you want to extract that data in a larger view. And that's kind of, how the pharmacy engagement report works and the initiatives that we have. What questions can I answer for you?
Not seeing anything come through the chat.
All right.
All right.
And again,
Well,
if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the pharmacy team at AHP.
Thank you, Bob. And LJ, if you are ready to go on and add your comments there, I did just want to point out, if you are a pediatric provider on the call, pharmacy is likely not going to apply to you for this year. So if you log into the PER and you see that you don't have anything in that space, don't be alarmed. It's just because you don't have any pharmacy initiatives for 2023. So LJ?
Jana, that was part of what I was going to say, because I realized that some of the PEDS people might be like, wait, I don't see myself on there. But I did want to just mention, we've been getting a number of emails and outreach from some of you who are on the call, some of our pediatric practices in particular, that there's been a number of concerns around, first of all, the ADHD stimulant medication shortage. Our pharmacy team did a really nice pharmacy pearl around that back in, I think it was December timeframe, or maybe a touch earlier than that. But we're hearing the situation is only getting worse in that space. And I think that there have been some requests to see if we can do an update around the current shortage and see if there's any ways that we can help in terms of the access to pharmacies to find out who has what available. So just wanted, for those who have raised that issue in this week, to let you know we're going to look at that as a team, and we will re-up that last pharmacy pearl. And then similarly, there have been some concerns which we'll bring back to the teams via email, but a lot of concerns around reimbursement right now along different lines, both in terms of certain immunizations, but also in terms of certain COVID procedures and COVID testing and practices. So I would just say, if you're noticing anything that's coming up from your practice, it would be great. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'm going to be having some conversations with some of the team at Excelis to see if we can process this. So more examples or more data for me is actually really helpful in that. So that was really just my request. And other than that, Jana, I don't have anything else. Thanks.
Awesome. Renee, do you want to take your piece next and get going? Cool.
Sure, happy to. Hi, everyone. I just had a couple of things I wanted to make folks aware of. First is to make a shameless pitch to request providers who might be interested in serving on AHP's membership committee. The membership committee only meets 6 times a year. It only meets in months where we have a board meeting. Typically, the length of the meeting is, I don't know, 4 minutes to 12 minutes. I think one outstanding month, we met for a total of 35 minutes. So it's a really great way to stay engaged at AHP, earn a citizenship credit, make $125 for attending, and serve the network by helping us review applications for new members of AHP. So if you are interested in participating on the membership committee, please reach out to me. I think everyone's got my email address, or anyone at AHP that you do know and have their email address, you can contact them and they'll send it to me. So would love to welcome some new members to our membership committee. It's really important, especially that we have representation from our community providers, since that's a group that we just don't have that many on that committee. So we hope that I hope I hear from some folks and would love to have you. And then the final thing I just wanted to make folks aware of, and we'll be including a link to this in the follow-up email to this meeting, and that is a fact sheet that came out from CMS late last week about the impact of the end to the public health emergency and what that would mean for coverage of various things under both Medicaid, Medicare, and commercial insurance to the degree to which CMS can comment on commercial insurance. But I thought it was a nice reference guide. I thought it was really helpful, and we'll include a link to it in our follow-up email today so everyone can see that, what will hopefully be a helpful resource for you. So that is it for me.
Great. So on my end, I have a couple updates, couple reminders for folks. We did have our first practice managers meeting last week. So if you're a provider on this call, your practice manager likely attended. Just like to remind people that recording is available on our YouTube site. We talked about a number of topics at that meeting, including, let's see, it's a big agenda. So we talked a lot about our 2023 quality measures, our PCP reward plan and provider engagement report, as well as providing updates on trauma-informed care and the expansion of our lactation care management program. So if you're interested in any of those items, that recording is available on our YouTube channel, and then your provider, your practice managers also have the follow-up that comes with the slides as well there. In addition to that, I want to make people aware in network news, which I encourage you all to read when you get it. We mentioned a number of topics for educational, for CE credits that are happening this month. So we had the 24th annual diabetes conference that's taking place at the University of Rochester. So there's information about that. We will also re-up that in this follow-up as well. And then I am sharing another one. We actually have the Echo on transgender health, which we're going to be sharing information about there in today's follow-up. Also, NCQA HEDIS public comment period. We will be re-upping that link as well. The public comment period is going to end next week, early next week. So if you're interested in making a public comment there, Chad did talk about this in one of our advisory committees, that there's nothing that is super alarming or that is unexpected for us or that we are particularly concerned about. So if you just want to take a peek at that, you can definitely do that. Also wanted to share some resources. So as we keep moving through this year, we're going to make this, again, multiple shameless pitches on our Candyland roadmap. That's our Well Child roadmap for ages 0 to 8 years old. This is something that a lot of practices have put into their new patient packages, and we have a ton of them. So if you're interested, please just reach out and we can ship those off to your office. With that, I don't think I have anything else. This is a pretty short meeting here, but Renee, is there anything I'm missing? Chad, anybody else want to add some comments there?
I don't think I have anything else.
No, I think we're good.
I'll shake your
All
hands.
right. Looks like you guys are going to get a proper 30 minutes for lunch.
If
All right.
anybody has questions, let's speak now or forever hold yourself. All right. Have a lovely everybody.
Bye,
Right.
everyone.